Darwin couldn't even get a job. In fact, he was so lazy he wouldn't apply himself that finally his dad stepped in and got him a job. And it was to be a companion for a ship captain as they were floating about near the Galapagos. Now, his role was unpaid, and it was just to give the captain somebody to talk to.
Then that's not a job, is it? It sounds more like volunteer work. Yep, alright there, skepticals. Inflatable, banana-loving Matt Powell is at it again, calling people names and not offering any real arguments for why evolution isn't acceptable, despite it actually being so well supported that to deny it makes you seem like a big dumb. Hello, I'm the Skeptic, the British floating circle that watches people make extraordinary claims, and then I explain why I don't accept what they're saying. You may even agree with some of those things. Most people I speak to dislike him immensely, but he's got so many great arguments that I actually kind of... Sorry, no, I tried to keep that up, but I just couldn't. Matty Powell is a person that actually thinks that the Earth is around 6,000 years old. I know. There are actually people that think that. I don't know why I'm surprised. There are people that think the Earth is flat, that Donald Trump is still president in 2023, and that aliens visit the United States almost daily. But he's here to explain why Charles Darwin, just some guy who thought that it was cool that natural selection made sense, was an idiot. Yeah, it'll probably have nothing to do with what Darwin says, though, and more to do with why Matty Powell doesn't like his haircut or something. But before we find out why Charlie D was a big dummy, if this isn't your first Skeptic video, hit the like, the subscribe and the bell, and your feed should show more idiots getting told why they're big dopes. And a super thanks to those that hit super thanks in some recent videos. Tigger62, Condor Boss 3339, and Aubrey Leone 4108. Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe bestows leaves upon you. More hen. I'm not even sure how saying that Darwin was an idiot disproves evolution, but let's give it a go, I guess.
Darwin couldn't even get a job. In fact, he was so lazy he wouldn't apply himself.
So what? I would try and get out of stuff when I was a kid. Hell, I try and get out of stuff now, and I'm a 40-year-old floating circle. How does that disprove what Darwin observed and make him an idiot?
That finally his dad stepped in and got him a job. And it was to be a companion for a ship captain as they were floating about near the Galapagos. Now, his role was unpaid, and it was just to give the captain somebody to talk to.
Here, Captain, take my son on an adventure, will you? I'll pay you for it, and it might teach him a thing or two. I'm not saying that that's why this apparently happened, but trying out all these ad hominem attacks is Matthew's favourite way of debunking. And even if it was true that Darwin was lazy and went to keep a captain company, it doesn't disprove what can be demonstrated with science today.
And when they landed on the Galapagos, they observed a few finches that had speciated 14 kinds of finches, and Darwin concluded that just because they had slightly different beak shapes and different anatomical features, that all life shares common ancestry.
I don't think it happened that quickly, but I'm still failing to see the point. Didn't Isaac Newton sit under a tree and observe an apple fall, not on his head like many suggest? The fact is, Newton maybe wasn't working that day and was being lazy and observed something. Perhaps the lesson we should all take from this is stop doing things to become great. The atheist messiah? What ridiculousness is this? He's not the messiah, he's a very naughty boy. What? Nothing. But why would you try and make atheism and evolution look stupid by making it look similar to your religion? Doesn't that, by default, make your religion look stupid? Because look, there's a messiah, and only stupid people have a messiah.
That you and I and every other living organism descended from a single cell.
That's not what Darwin proposed. Darwin just noticed that traits that benefited a species were the ones that seemed to be passed on to help future generations survive in certain environments. The whole coming from a single-celled organism came much later.
And this is considered the greatest discovery of all time. And Darwin is often considered the world's #1 discoverer.
#1 discoverer, maybe a bit of a stretch. Darwin may just have been a guy that noticed something and told other folks about that something, which led to one of the greatest, most explainable scientific theories we have. And no, not a theory like a guess, but an actual best explanation we have given all the evidence available. That kind of theory.
Bear in mind that our next number one discoverer came across some things in nature that surprised him, and he tried to explain what he saw. It's not the story of a guy just trying to cause trouble. It's the story of the guy who made what you and I consider the number one discovery in science so far.
Hey, if you want a messiah of evolution or atheism, since we know you like to lump the two together, I reckon Bill Nye the Science Guy would be a better candidate than Darwin. Heck, there are a few people I would consider as evolutionary messiahs, since they know way more than I could ever dream to. Erica the Gutsick Gibbon, Forrest Valkai, Aaron Ra, just to name a few.
He said a married man is a poor slave, worse than a
Whoa, whoa, whoa. What does that have to do with what Charles Darwin says about evolution? And why would you even bring it up? Only a real POS would show that word. Say it and bleep it out. And not offer the context for it. But go for it, Matty. What was meant by that?
After Darwin had made these observations and came to some interesting conclusions.
Hang on. You're not going to explain why that was said. You're just going to try and make Darwin look like a dick and move on. I'd like to say it was a smart move, but it's so transparent I can't. Busted, Matty. That isn't quite how the quote went. It was something to do with being married and how walking with a wife would mean never getting anything done. And whilst it wasn't the best choice of words, Darwin was actually very anti-slavery. And we all know we could point out things that people say with no context to see if we can make them look bad.
No, it's all about what you have done. And the people that you've gone to behind my back and lied to and said, oh, Matt said this about you, and done that.
Who?
I'm not going to give names, Jeremy, but I will say this. There's been several people that have come to me and said, Jeremy said that you said this about so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. And don't you lie to me because you know that it's true.
Nope. Just that one time, and I thought we took care of it.
Nope, there's plenty more. And you're bold-faced lying to me.
Nope.
Yeah, you are.
You talking about the Von Gods talking to you?
I'm not going to say who.
Because it has nothing to do with me. They
Jeremy,
told me.
you
it has nothing
are
to do. It has
insane.
nothing to do with me. It's all you. It's all on your shoulders, man.
All on my shoulders.
You did something wrong that they're not telling me. They said that you did something wrong against them.
No, you are a big tattletale. And you just go around to people and make up a bunch of bull crap. Dude,
are we going to fix the window?
No, because there's no parts. I thought there was parts here, Jeremy. And you're scared. You're scared to death to talk to me. You are. Dude, it's not a joke. You're a skinny little runt baby that can't think for himself. And you come here, you constantly leech off me, then you go complain to other people, oh, Matt's taking advantage of me. Dude, you will go to hell! I am not joking. Look at me.
Matt, stop.
Look at me.
Stop.
You look at me right now.
Stop.
That
I came here for
has
the
nothing
window.
to do with this.
I came here.
We are going to talk about this.
You're going to smile.
You are insane. You think I am yelling too hard? You have lost your mind.
Stop.
You're going to talk to me.
No.
You're going to talk to me right now.
I'm getting out of here.
You're acting like a woman. Why don't you talk to me like a man?
Acting like a woman. I came here for the stupid
You're
window.
acting like a woman, dude. And we can't fix the window.
Nothing
I'll
more,
take care of the
nothing
window.
less.
But you know what?
Then
We
take
need
care
to
of the
take
window.
care of this.
No.
You go to the Von Gotts and tell Mrs. Von Gott, oh, Matt called you a witch. You know that's right. And I never said that. I said they practice certain things like witchcraft. But I never, ever demeaned her character. And for you to just go over there and bold-faced lie, just like you've done with Daniel Buffum and my brother, just like you've done with all sorts of people, then you're going to get angry at me for yelling at you. You're crazy.
I'm not crazy.
You are insane. You have lost your mind, Jeremy. And I love you too much just to sit here and say, oh, well, you're fine. Because you're not.
Yep. That's Matt Powell gaslighting and being an all-around jerk to a church member. No context needed there, really. But even so, it doesn't discredit what Matt says. Fortunately, what he says discredits what he says.
His life took a very dark turn. In fact, he said this about women. Man has ultimately become superior to woman.
Page 588, huh? I looked at page 588 of The Descent of Man and couldn't see anything. Maybe there are more versions, but all I see is that in a lot of species, the male tends to be bigger than the female, apart from when they're not, obviously. So is Matty just lying about this? It would make sense that it wasn't the truth. Why make stuff up when it could be checked?
He said the chief distinction in the intellectual powers of the two sexes is shown by man's attaining to a higher eminence in whatever he takes up than can woman. And it even gets worse.
More pages, more things that aren't actually there, and worse than the lies you're just making up.
Darwin's book, The Origin of Species, the original title is The Preservation of Favored Races in the Struggle for Life.
And anyone can tell he's talking about different animal races and nothing to do with humans. Though, really, there's only one human race that we're all a part of. Language, like creatures on Earth, evolve, Matthew. And since this book was written almost 200 years ago, it's bound to have some translation issues. There's another book like that, right?
Darwin believed that certain people groups were inferior to others. He said at some future period, not very distant as measured by centuries, the civilized races of man will almost certainly exterminate and replace the savage races throughout the world.
Good on you, Matty, for messing up once again. That's actually nothing to do with race, but more to do with various tribes and their way of life. And of course, back in the mid-1800s or whenever this was, undiscovered lands had folks that maybe didn't believe in sky wizards, which understandably would be terrifying. But luckily, as time has gone on, there are still tribes of folks out there living life their way and not being exterminated in a way you're trying to make out. My only hope is that one day someone discovers a tribe of people that believe in a higher rainbow power that takes the form of a giraffe, and they bestow leaves upon her in great offerings so that she may poop food their way, thus proving that the cosmic rainbow deity isn't just my own doing, but that of other very sensible folks out there. Thanks, Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe. Leave be upon you.
And all of this really explains why he went on to say this. He said, a married man is a poor slave, worse than a...
Man, you really are a POS for constantly bringing that up. Out of context.
And later on in Darwin's life, he admitted this. He said, I am very stupid, and I hate everybody and everything.
More out of context. That was on a day he was sick, and so he probably wasn't feeling it. We've all been there. But now, we can all play this game. I have an audio quote of Matt Powell saying this.
I am very stupid, and I hate everybody.
So there you have it. Matt Powell admits he's very stupid and hates everything. I knew it.
And so it would make sense that he promoted the lie of evolution. Because if he hates people, it's no wonder he came up with such a crazy, wild ideology.
Really, Matthew, taking things out of context to help your audience believe that Darwin was what he wasn't gets you where exactly? Creationists everywhere are now probably saying, well, Matt Powell says that Darwin was a self-proclaimed stupid that hated humans. So, of course, what he had to say about evolution is made up. Oh, if Darwin was around today, Matt, he definitely wouldn't have liked you. Maybe to the point of hatred.
So, Bill, Darwin was a big collector. He came up with evolution by natural selection. Could you give us like a 3-minute exposition of Darwin's theory of evolution?
The thing that is fascinating is Charles Darwin wrote this book where he has the theory and the experiments, looking at his collections and reaching amazing conclusions.
He said, I am very stupid, and I hate everybody.
Well done, Matt. You may have just reached the part of your video where you make yourself look the most ridiculous. Let's say, just for a second, that Darwin did say that in the context you're suggesting. Would you then be saying, I'm smart and love everybody, and humans came from dirt and the Earth is only 6,000 years old? I'm sorry, but no. Just no.
I'm a biologist, and Darwin has been an inspiration to me throughout my whole career.
While secular humanists would have us believe that Darwin was a genius, in reality he was a misogynist, a racist. He hated women, he hated marriage, he hated work. He was afraid he was living in Fantasyland, and he admitted to hating everybody and everything.
I'm pretty certain you described ex-bestie Kent Hovind then. He's the one who got arrested for really disliking certain women, right? And don't you hate pretty much everyone in the LGBTQ plus community? And this guy, of course.
You're crazy! I'm not crazy.
You are insane! You have lost your mind, Jeremy.
So by that reckoning, Matty boy, no one could trust what you say. Got it.
That's the truth. He said, often a cold shudder has run through me, and I have asked myself whether I have devoted myself to a fantasy. And so Darwin was afraid that everything he believed was based on a fantasy.
95% of what I say, I doubt. And with something as new as noticing that creatures can adapt to their surroundings by passing on traits that benefit them, of course you're going to question when all you've been taught is a magic sky man made it that way. Fortunately, we have some pretty amazing people around the world doing amazing things and confirming what Darwin first observed with repeatable, demonstrable means. So even if Darwin was the person-hating man you suggest he was, it doesn't change the fact that evolution is real.
Now, this just shows us that he didn't actually believe in scientific law, because if he did, he wouldn't be afraid that he was living in Fantasyland. People can come up with their own opinions about Darwin, and they can continue to claim that he's a wonderful man and a scientific genius.
Can they though, Matt? Because I feel like you're about to say that folks do have the choice to accept his work, but because you think he was a big poopy head, that those folks are wrong. Yeah, let's see.
But in reality, Darwin hated life. He hated you and I. He hated Jesus, and that's why he spoke out against Christianity.
Yeah, I knew it. And he didn't speak out about Christianity. He was mostly a believer until his last few days when he came out as a semi-non-believer. That's not speaking out. Just because he noticed something that can literally be proven, you think he's anti-only white guy from Israel. It's not anti-religion. It's pro-science. And unfortunately for you, it means the God is forgotten about when it can be demonstrated that there are natural ways that all this can happen.
The sad truth about Darwin is that he actually was supposed to be a man of God. His dad always wanted him to be a preacher and somebody that would spread the truth of God's word to the public.
His dad may have wanted him to punch everyone named Matt Powell in the face, but that doesn't mean he should do it. And hang on, wasn't his dad a doctor? Didn't he want him to become a doctor too? More Matty lies.
But Darwin got involved with the wrong crowd of people, and he got involved with the wrong ideologies, and he let Satan take over his life, and that's when everything took a turn for the worst in his existence.
How? He learned science. He observed something which became one of the most fascinating, in my opinion, theories in science. If learning about how things come to be is the wrong crowd, I'm most certainly a bad 'un. Because I'd much rather learn why things are than be lazy and suggest that an undemonstrated skyman was the one that poofed it into existence 6,000 years ago or whatever. That's not only stupid, but it's f***ing boring too. Oh, and while we're at it, it's only religious nuts that believe in Satan.
This is the most precious book in my collection. It's a genuine first edition, Origin of Species. But it's not just the most precious book in my library. Charles Darwin's Origin of Species is one of the most precious books in the entire library of our species. This book made it possible, no longer, to feel the necessity to believe in anything supernatural. It completely revolutionized the way we see ourselves, the world, and our origins.
And the genius who thought of it was Charles Darwin. I'm a biologist, and Darwin has been an inspiration to me throughout my whole career.
Looking at his collections and reaching amazing conclusions.
Darwin's father paid for his voyage and also paid for an assistant to come with Darwin and help him skin the specimens and prepare the crates for shipment. He worked in a little poop deck where he had all his specimens. He was the first to popularize the idea of the tree of life, in which we're related to all living things.
Okay, apparently playing clips and saying bruh over them and putting stupid words on them discredits it. Well, Matty, we can all do that. You whinge baggy, lispy little wazzock who believes in fairy tales. You're a little twit that can't accept what's demonstrable and rather accepts that the undemonstrated that can't be proven is the reason this is all here. I would feel sorry for you if you weren't such a hateful little gobshit. Well, I feel better for that. And it seems all Matt does to try and discredit evolution is to personally attack those that support it. You can't ever come up with why evolution itself is supposedly flawed, Matthew. You just say stupid things about the people that come to notice these cool things, hoping that the people that follow you will then think that these folks are ridiculous and therefore don't agree with what they say. And that is pretty stupid. Maybe you also don't agree with Darwin, though. Let me know in the section below. I'm going to skeptic this as Matt being the ultimate loon here. A big thank you to this month's top-level ticks on Patreon. Godless Granny, Addy Rockhart, the Enixes, Jakari, Whiskey Tech Fred, and the absolute lunatic Travis, as well as all the $3 base ticks. You can become a supporter on Patreon too at patreon.com/theskeptic. The link is in the description, along with links to all my other socials. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. From me, the Skeptic, stay safe, keep thinking logically, and ask questions. Skepticism is the first step towards truth. See you next Saturday.